Hello my friends. Here I have my fuse panel, and I need to have a ground coming in and a plus coming in. And both of these leads that I'm running from the battery are 8 gauge wire. And on these terminals here, which are the same as these, that cannot take an 8 gauge wire. So, out of hundreds of terminals that I have here, this is the only one that will take the 8 gauge wire, and this is the size that I need. I couldn't find this size. I went to the hardware. They have larger ones, but they don't have the small one. And the ones that they do have, they're running $1 or more each. So I have a substitute method. When I was in the hardware, they had some coil copper, and this is like a refrigerator line, and this is 1/8 of an inch. So with this line, what I'm doing is making this type of a terminal, and let me show you how it's done. Now I'm going to need about a dozen of these terminals. So what I'm going to do is take my tubing cutter. Okay, I'm making this the same length. And we cut a dozen of these. After you cut with the tubing cutter, what it does is it crimps the edges and makes it smaller in the end. Now we need this to be the actual size. What I'm doing, I have a nail set, and I take the nail set, plug it in the hole, and you only need to do this on one end, and then we open it up by tapping this in. Now it doesn't hurt to make it a little bit larger. See how it flared out? That'll make it easier to push the wire into that hole. Okay, now once that's flared, I have an Allen wrench, and I chose this because of the size, and put some tape on here, and I'm using that tape as a stop. So that'll hold it. Now we set this over the edge of the anvil, and I'm going about halfway on there. Okay, once you're holding that on that edge, we hammer it. 1 or 2 hits usually enough. Okay, now if you look at it, this back side here is flat. The front is brought down. Okay, now the same Allen wrench, I put this in here. Now the last thing I'm going to do here is drill a small hole in this end, and this aids in soldering the connection on. Okay, it vents. You can also, as you're heating this, add your solder here, and it'll flow through the terminal. Now I'm taking a center punch. I'm going to center or punch a center punch mark in the middle of this flat area, and that's to start my drill bit so it doesn't walk around on me. Now the drill bit has been sized for the terminal that we're going to. Now when you're drilling copper, you want to go with a lower speed. Too fast, it doesn't grip, bite in. Now you don't need to do this, but what I'm going to do is nick these corners off, just like that. And that finishes the terminal. And it's ready to be soldered. You can do this same method with any other diameter copper. And this is 1/8 inch copper tubing, and I think I'm going to get some 1/4 inch and do the same thing to make a larger terminal. Now, this type of a terminal is sold, and right here you can see this is a piece of copper, basically done the same way. Just crimped down, drilled out, and that's it. The only thing I don't see is a vent hole on the larger cable here. Having that hole allows you to monitor the solder as it's going in, and if you see it flowing through here and you see the solder in that hole, then you know that it is soldered throughout the entire length of that tube section. There you have it, a dozen terminals for about $1. Thanks for watching, my friends. Bye-bye.